I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile. Your life, as it has been, is over. From this time forward, you will service us.
No! We will not service Washington.
Mr. Worf, fire.
Well, welcome to another. That helps if I mute the right one. Anyway, welcome tonight to another exciting live broadcast of Cerberus Radio Network. This is the Renegade and Rambler show. I'm your host, Dan Bailey, and I am joined tonight by Jeff Johnson, John Zangaro, I'm probably saying your name wrong, and Justin. And Jeff, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty well. This week has been a busy week. It's just been one thing after another, but I'm here, and we're going to have a good show. We have Justin is in with us tonight. Before we get into the show, we're going to announce that we have doing a show. At this point, we're not quite sure whether it's going to be a live show, and it's going to be evenings, about the same time as we are now, or if it's going to be a podcast. That'll be up to them and their schedules, because we all know what it's like. We all have busy schedules. That's why this show is on Sunday nights at 8 because of our work schedules. So, Justin, welcome. Tell our listeners about you and Mike and your show, and give a quick intro to you guys. Tell people who you are, what you do, and let them know what to expect when they listen.
All right, thanks. Yeah, we're really excited about being a part of this. And I am a high school social studies teacher, along with Mike Margison, my cohort. He couldn't be here this evening, but I just wanted to come on and introduce the listeners to who we are. We have been broadcasting a podcast called The Other Side. And essentially what we try to do is bring a libertarian Austrian economics view to societal issues, governmental issues, economic issues, whatever's going on. It's definitely more of a topical podcast. We take on various different topics that may be in the news. But we've got about 22 episodes that we've recorded already. We've got a YouTube channel, and we are just kind of looking to expand our base out some. And some conversations with Suzanne and you guys was really, really excited for the opportunity. And so we just try to bring a little bit of our background of being public education teachers to the mix. And really one of the biggest things that I've tried since I've gotten involved with this is to let people know that there are advocates in the public education system. Now, obviously, we just have a small niche being in one public high school, but certainly we know that we're not alone, that there are others out there that are like us, that are upset with how the system works and the monopoly of government education. And so we're really just trying to present another side to what, we know that people get in their typical public education. And so that's kind of been our mission in starting the podcast. And we're super, super excited to start. And yeah, we'll work out the logistics and everything. But I hope the listeners that come from the Cerberus Radio Network will enjoy what they hear from us. And we're definitely excited to be able to contribute. So we really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you. And you're welcome to stick around as long as you like. I realize you have family responsibilities now, and that's why we tried to get you on the very first thing here and get you so you could get back to your family and do what you need to do. We are looking forward to it. Mike is your economist guy. He does a lot of the economy stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah. He teaches our AP curriculum at the high school for economics, and has been doing that a little bit longer. I am the only government teacher in our building, so I get all of our seniors for government, and between the two of us, I try to take mostly the governmental issues. So I'll stick to constitutional issues and history, and he'll work a lot of economic stuff in. Like I said, both of us rely heavily on the Austrian theory for that, and definitely, love to take on and tackle some of these issues, and really looking forward to it. Like I said, we really our big issues that we take on when we tackle these, we tell people we're not here to tell you what to think. We want to encourage people to think from this other perspective. So that's really our big goal with every episode that we do. Is we're hoping that we're just encouraging people to say, hey, wait, that's not what I heard, when I sat in a high school classroom. Or that's not what I hear when I turned into the mainstream media. And again, just try to encourage, conversation beyond what we cover on the podcast. And we've gotten some good feedback on some of the episodes that we've done. So we're definitely excited. So again, thank you guys for the opportunity, and we're really looking forward to it.
All right. Well, again, folks, stay tuned to the further announcements on that, because as soon as we work out the logistics on their timing, I'm thinking it's going to be sometime around 9 o'clock at night. They're going to be a 9 p.m. show, I believe. Some nights it may be live. They'll have the ability to go live if they desire, and other nights it'll just be podcasts. And also, I want to remind folks that we just added some new episodes of Brush Fires of Freedom. And immediately following that, we have from Shift Gold, we have the Friday Gold wrap up. So we have some economic stuff coming in as well. So we have a wide variety of different people coming on, giving a variety of really very libertarian views. Though I don't consider myself a libertarian, though I do believe in liberty, and that's, I believe, the primary goal of government is, Patrick Henry called it, is to defend liberty. And that's what we here at Cerberus strive to get people to understand, is that government is there to protect your liberty. It's not there to do everything for you. It's not there to be your nanny. So anyway, thank you, Justin. And we will talk again, and we will make a big announcement when you guys are going to be up and running. Maybe we'll get some podcasts running here shortly so I can get them downloaded. Okay? Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
All right. Now, Daniel, you arranged for a guest tonight, so why don't you introduce him, because I'm not quite up to speed on who our guest is tonight.
All right. Well, tonight we got Justin. I'm probably going to butcher your last name there, boss.
I believe is it John?
Yeah, it's John.
Okay.
What did I say, Justin?
Justin, yeah. But Justin just got off.
Yeah,
that's okay.
John. Last name's what? Zangaro?
John, you there? He might have froze up.
Gotta love modern technology.
Yep. Are you there, John? The picture moved, so I'm not quite sure.
He said it was lagging, so.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll get that all worked out. John's a candidate for PA State Senate. Is that what you said he was?
Yes. I got his bio here. He was U.S. Army Infantry, Iraq War veteran, worked with the Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Interpol, and other various government agencies. Says we held the first ever elections in Iraq. Military contractor, trained any military unit, no matter the branch, got them ready for deployment. Trained up any police unit that came through. He was director and founder of Operation Constitution, actively educating the public on the founding principles and giving simple access to government information. A co-founder of the Citizens Legislation, built a professional team of citizens to engage in writing common sense constitutional legislation. He was a political consultant, advised on policy and marketing strategies, and assisted in building a team around campaigns for those who seek to do constitutional and conservative work. And he is a published writer, author with articles in the local papers and published on online media. So
it looks like he's still frozen. So Daniel, why don't we well, let's just discuss something while we get maybe reestablished. If you can send him a private message or something, let him know that he's frozen up. Obviously, the big news of the weekend, Daniel, is what is our big news this weekend? As everyone's losing their minds over it. I happened to, unfortunately, when I was up to my mom's house earlier, catch a little bit of NBC News, and they were crying the crocodile tears over the government shutdown and how everyone is going to die because they're not around to take care of us. I was like, oh my gosh, it's been closed for a day. It's a weekend. They weren't even open anyway. And they're crying crocodile tears. They had some lady that was some
it was
some IT keyboardist, and she was crying crocodile tears because she's gonna have to go and shut her place down. I was like, oh my gosh, it's been one day, and you weren't even working anyway. You were off all weekend, so oh my gosh.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a little ridiculous.
So here we are, one day into a government shutdown, and according to the media, the world is going to end. And quite honestly,
I love it.
It's amazing. I am just absolutely amazed at the level of what are we going to do? The army's going to close. We're not going to be able to defend ourselves. Oh my gosh, the world's going to kill us.
Here's what I was trying to figure out, Jeff.
Seriously?
They were saying the economy was going to lose like $2 million a day or $2 billion a day. And it was like, seriously? The government doesn't produce anything. So how could the economy lose $2 million a day?
Yeah. This is what I posted the other day. I said, listen, the general government steals $4 trillion from the productive. That means the people that actually produce something in society, they steal $4 trillion from us. They don't produce anything. So if they stop stealing that $4 trillion, the productive will actually use that money to be productive and produce more.
All right, John, are you there?
No, he just left again, I think.
Well, no, I got him on the phone.
I'm here.
He is here. Right.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, we covered your bio, but is there anything you wanted to add to the bio you sent me?
I didn't hear you give all that, so if you read it all, people understand that I've worked both within government, without government, and beside the government. I've had a lot of chance to see the inner working. I've also had the opportunity to do great things with a lot of civilians out there as well. So I think that pretty well covers what I've done.
All right. And which Senate district are you running for?
State House.
State House? I thought it was
District
State Senate.
No.
I was probably off. Which district are you in then?
District 123 in Pennsylvania State House.
District 123 in the Pennsylvania State House.
Yes.
Is that down? Okay, I think Daniel said the other day that must be down near Philadelphia, Schuylkill area. Is that correct?
It's about an hour north from Harrisburg. It's in the Schuylkill County area. If you look on the congressional map would be right around where Matt Cartwright and Lou Barletta both share.
All right. You're a little choppy on your end. I don't know if it's your signal or what's exactly going on. It's an hour north of me, Jeff, over by Minersville, Pottstown area.
All right, so it's southeast of me. You're east of Williamsport somewhere. Little southeast of Williamsport.
Over by the Yangling Brewery.
Okay. Oh yeah. Then there you go. So anyway, since you're on, I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell the folks what your platform is. What are you running on specifically? What is your goal going into the Pennsylvania House of Representatives?
Well, first, let me say thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate you guys letting me come on here. And also about all the technical difficulties I'm experiencing on this. But as far as what I'm wanting to bring to the table, I'm wanting to bring accountability to Harrisburg. Now, I know you guys have heard, everybody's heard that. It doesn't matter if it's state or federal. But what I'm doing is proving myself. I actually put together a group of citizen legislature personnel that assisted me in writing the first piece of what is to be many. Some of the platforms that I'm running on, everything that I'm running on, either holds elected officials' feet to the fire or is completely constitutionally sound, such as, if I may, less regulations, less taxes, responsible government spending, easy to read common sense legislation, no more warrantless searches and seizures, constitutional carry, elimination of death tax. I want to go ahead and link elected officials' pay to the average income of their district so that they don't make more than we the people do. Also, I feel that it's very important for accountability purposes that we take a look at our elected officials. They suggest that our police officers needed body cams because of the level of authority which their position holds. They need to be held accountable. So, for that very same reason, I'm pushing body cams for all elected officials. No more more cost-efficient legislature meetings using technology rather than going down to Harrisburg for every little thing that they want to do, because we, the people, have to pay for them every time they go to Harrisburg. No more pensions for elected officials. Nullification of any unconstitutional federal laws, and ending benefits and pensions for elected officials who have been removed from office due to legal actions.
All right, Daniel, did you have a question related to anything you just said there, Daniel?
Well, I take it since you're against the pensions, you're going to be opting out of the pension if elected within the 30-day requirement?
Absolutely. I don't believe that you can survive financially in a system of pensions, because until that individual passes away, they're constantly on the books, and you cannot balance any budget, whether it be a household budget, a state budget, or a business budget, when you rely on sheets that consist of persons that are no longer within the system and being effective. You have to get people off that. I have no issues with 401k, Roth IRAs, or anything of that nature, but pensions kill.
All right, Jeff, do you want to take the time out here? Or you want to just keep going?
Well, let's just keep going.
All right.
And we'll take one time out at the bottom of the hour. This is the Cerberus Radio Network, defending liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny. So I just want to, you said something about taxes in Pennsylvania. This is going to be, I'm going to ask the first part here, and then we're going to get into some more on the tax end of it. This this last legislative session, Pennsylvania, they approved, well, somehow $32 billion was approved to spend with a $2 billion shortfall in contravention to our state constitution. Our constitution requires a balanced budget, yet they instituted a unbalanced budget. As a representative of the people, will you support continuing to do business as usual and passing budgets that aren't balanced?
Well, I'll answer it like this. much like Rand Paul stood against his own party on the federal level, I too will stand up for a balanced budget in Pennsylvania. You cannot tell me that any household in Pennsylvania can live beyond their means without repercussion. Therefore, the government consists of, one, a constitution to justify any actions made within the House or Senate, and two, all the funds come from we the people. So essentially what they're doing is hanging us out to dry to pay for it.
Daniel, did you have a follow up on that?
The excuse we got this time was that, quote, if we borrow the money, then it's a balanced budget. And you're in agreement with us that, no, that's not a balanced budget. That's just flat out ludicrous, correct?
That's a loan. I don't know any budget that gets balanced off of a loan.
Okay. That's what I thought you were saying, but I thought I'd reiterate it just on the safe side here.
All right, so, go ahead, Daniel.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry.
Jeff.
Well, I was just going to go on to the second half of that whole equation with discussing taxes. This last year, they talked about giving us relief and doing away with property taxes, which I'm wholeheartedly in favor of. That was one of the largest thefts in history in the United States when property taxes were instituted. They stole the property. We either pay the extortion every year or they send guys with guns. If you don't want to call it extortion, I rent from the government now. I paid off my mortgage, yet I still do not own my house. I never will. I will always pay rent or extortion. I call it extortion because if I don't pay them, they'll send guys with guns to remove me from my property. That to me is extortion. Pay up or we'll send guys with guns. So this year, they talked about property tax relief. And back when we had a Republican House, Republican Senate, and Republican governor, they passed one of the largest gasoline taxes in Pennsylvania history, and now our gasoline prices are outrageous compared to everyone around us. So go ahead and talk about taxes for us a little bit.
I'm glad that you brought up gasoline. I'm actually currently down here working in Texas. Do you know what gas prices are here? I have found.
I'm going to guess they're probably $2.65, $2.50, somewhere in there, maybe. No, actually, no. I'm sorry, because that's Pennsylvania. I'm thinking Pennsylvania prices. No, you're probably about $1.99.
$1.96.
Yeah, $2.50 is what they're paying in Pennsylvania. Excuse me, I forgot.
I'll be back in Pennsylvania here soon. I believe. I don't know if you guys know who Dave Ramsey is. He's a Christian financial consultant. Also, Calvin Coolidge, who believed in a financially stable economy. I myself believe that we need to stabilize our economy by privatizing more things. We need to go ahead and get the government out of a lot of the businesses that they're currently in, because it's only going to allow our private communities to flourish, to grow, to afford more, and as such, pay more back to the system. But we need to cut taxes. We need to cut regulations. We need to make the system flourish through liberty and freedom, not through regulations and taxes. You can't, I believe it was Winston Churchill said that trying to tax a people into prosperity is like trying to stand in a bucket and lift yourself out of poverty.
Daniel? Well, as far as Dave Ramsey goes, if we start talking about him, I'll go full fanboy and we won't get off that subject at all. As for the let's see, the gasoline tax, we were having the issues of right now. I run to Brooklyn every night, Monday through Friday.
if I may,
Go ahead.
weren't we supposed to legalize gambling in order to assist in these things so that taxes could go down and that we wouldn't have to pay as much, especially into our schools, because the gambling would take care of that.
Oh, yes. And then the Supreme Court came in and said that was unconstitutional and we couldn't do it after we legalized it.
Which Supreme Court?
The state.
Oh, okay. I was just hoping it was the proper court to hear a Pennsylvania issue.
The state
Not
Supreme Court told Dauphin County, I believe it was Dauphin County, that they could not charge the casino there more money because it was unconstitutional in the first place, and therefore the casino was giving them, quote, donations. So that was an interesting turn, and the legislature has yet to actually deal with that decision.
Yeah, prior to the show, I was talking to Justin and Daniel about it, and I was just telling them that I have a Duramax diesel. I love my Duramax diesel, and I do everything I can to starve the beast in Harrisburg, and because I live 7 miles from the New York State border. I go across the border, buy my diesel there at a 50-cent per gallon discount because I'm not paying all that tax. That's all tax. Pennsylvania gets every penny of that, plus what they already had on there. So most of a dollar goes right to Pennsylvania.
Do you realize I've had a lot of truck drivers in my family? Most of them were veterans prior to becoming truck drivers. Do you know what they told me about Pennsylvania? They fuel up on one end, drive through, and fuel up on the other.
And I suggest that to everyone I know, because Pennsylvania is it's outrageous the amount. I mean, and again, this came right from the Republicans. They had everything. Even the governor was governor, and he signed it into law. So this isn't a Republican Democrat thing. I bash both parties equally. I distrust both equally. It is a thing where we are being stolen from in massive numbers, and it's not enough. Right now, like I said, they're out of balance. They're borrowing money to so-called balance the budget, and they're going to have to steal more money from us, the Pennsylvanians, to pay that debt off or to balance the budget in the future. Instead of doing what you're saying, and I want you to expound on the fact that what you would consider the proper things to privatize, because you talked about privatization, and I agree wholeheartedly. Less government needs to be involved in far less. So give us an idea of what you would think would be a great thing to privatize to get government out of so that it can reduce its costs.
Well, I know I'm going to get some backlash on this, but how about the liquor stores? Then you also have a lot of the welfare out there. There are so many 501 organizations out there that can assist in welfare programs. But it's not up to the government to do that. You know, our communities and churches used to do that. Then you have you just have a lot of entities within the system that you can either work with to bring their budget down, or you can privatize them. Again, you have how many people that are currently on our unemployment list. Now, Pennsylvania, I don't know if you've tried receiving unemployment compensation, but it's ridiculous. Their system is broken. Half the time when you try to receive it, people are getting booted or for one reason or another are being approved and not paid, and then they tell you it's too bad. Well, what if we went ahead and fixed that system? Then took some of those people that are on that list and put them to work through the state elements. I mean, if you're going to pay them, you might as well get something for that. Have them work part-time shift through the week for the state.
All right. Well, again, this is the Cerberus Radio Network, protecting liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny. Daniel, I guess it's probably time for a break. So why don't you take us to a break, and we'll see everyone after this short timeout.
All right, this is the Cerberus Radio Network, and this is the Renegade and the Rambler show, and we will be right back after this.
I appreciate you guys having fun here. Thanks.
Of Borg. Resistance is futile. Your life, as it has been, is over. From this time forward,
I appreciate you guys having fun here. Thanks.
Of Borg. Resistance is futile. Your life, as it has been, is over. From this time forward, you will service us.
No! We will not service Washington.
Mr. Worf. Fire.
Well, welcome to another. That helps if I mute the right one. Anyway, welcome tonight to another exciting live broadcast of Cerberus Radio Network. This is the Renegade and Rambler show. I'm your host, Dan Bailey, and I am joined tonight by Jeff Johnson, John Zangaro. I'm probably saying your name wrong, and Justin. And Jeff, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty well. This week has been a busy week. It's just been one thing after another, but I'm here, and we're going to have a good show. We have Justin is in with us tonight. Before we get into the show, we're going to announce that we have doing a show. At this point, we're not quite sure whether it's going to be a live show, and it's going to be evenings about the same time as we are now, or if it's going to be a podcast. That'll be up to them and their schedules, because we all know what it's like. We all have busy schedules. That's why this show is on Sunday nights at 8 because of our work schedules. So, Justin, welcome. Tell our listeners about you and Mike and your show, and give a quick intro to you guys. Tell people who you are, what you do, and let them know what to expect when they listen.
All right, thanks. Yeah, we're really excited about being a part of this. And I am a high school social studies teacher, along with Mike Margison, my cohort. He couldn't be here this evening, but I just want to come on and introduce the listeners to who we are. We have been broadcasting a podcast called The Other Side. And essentially what we try to do is bring a libertarian, Austrian economics view to societal issues, governmental issues, economic issues, whatever's going on. It's definitely more of a topical podcast. We take on various different topics that may be in the news. But we've got about 22 episodes that we've recorded already. We've got a YouTube channel. And
anyone in the state constitution goes a step beyond that, says it shall not be questioned. Therefore, anything that infringes upon or questions my right to carry is unconstitutional, and as such is not a law that I will enforce. It is not a law that I will protect. It is not a law that I will support in any way, shape, manner, or form. We have, as citizens, the right to carry, to have and bear arms. Now, if you want to take that right away from any citizen, you need to take away their citizenship. Otherwise, they have the right to bear arms.
Okay.
When it comes to an opioid epidemic, what do you expect when pharmaceutical companies are basically funding the majority of people that are in politics, whether it be on a state or federal level? Of course, you're going to have opioid epidemics. You're going to have an overdose, or rather an overinflux of heroin, because since the war on drugs, the CIA has made sure that we are the leading cartel in peddling drugs in the world. So you want to end that? Talk to the CIA. Talk to the federal government. You're funding that.
Okay, you got anything you want to hit up there, Jeff?
Well, no, I think I'm gonna let that go. We have a little different view on when it comes down to what Constitution actually applies to Pennsylvanians, and I'm not gonna go into that here, because I don't want to take that up with you on air, because we can discuss that off air and we can debate that. But on air, I'm just let that one. We'll go with the Pennsylvania. I'm just going to tell you, the only Constitution that matters to Pennsylvania regarding firearms is the Pennsylvania Constitution, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Can I?
Go ahead, Suzanne.
Oh,
Suzanne's one of our hosts. She hosts the Wasatch Report on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. She lives in Utah, and that's why we were just discussing elk hunting just a moment ago. So go ahead, Suzanne.
Hi, John.
I was
Welcome.
just introducing you.
Thank you. I do think it's very refreshing to hear somebody that's running for office have the courage, let's be polite, to call the CIA out for what it's been doing and to call the government out on the fact that they really are the creators of this crisis. And as we see time and time again, our government is very good, both at the state and the national levels, pardon my French, for creating a crisis and then saying, well, clearly the only solution to this crisis is more government. So it's refreshing to hear somebody running for office, being honest. You don't hear that very often. So thank you, John.
Now, John, I know very little about your race and who you're running against. Can you, who is running against? Who are you running against? Are you primarying right now? Is that what you're doing at this point in a primary?
Well, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and start a little further back in history. Neil Goodman, his father used to hold the office. I don't remember when. I believe back in the late 50s, 60s, 70s, around that area of time. And then his father's best friend who worked within his office took over when he left. Then back in 2003, Neil Goodman himself took it over. So Neil Goodman and his family have had influence directly with this office for over a half of a century now. And he's so entrenched that nobody has even taken him on in two terms. Now, I will say, Neil Goodman is not some flaming-haired regressive. He's just an empty suit that signs stuff that comes across his desk when the right person requests it. He doesn't really do anything proactive for the community that he represents. And as such, you can go around the community within his district and see everything is falling apart. Everything is so depressed and forgotten. And just like you said, you haven't heard anything about it. Nobody in Pennsylvania hears about it. The Goodman family has ensured that they have just sunk so far back in that classroom that no one can see them or hear them. It's almost like this district doesn't even exist. And it's sad because we have so much to offer. He's not a terrible person. I'm not going to attack him. He's just an empty suit who is not representing with his full passion that he should be.
Yeah, well, that's not uncommon because my representative here in my area is a really nice guy. I really, really like my representative. I've met him a number of times. He's a very friendly guy. Everyone around here loves him, but he is an absolute empty suit. I ask him a question, and he never, ever answers the question because he doesn't know. He has no clue. I'll ask him, well, where's the authority for the federal government to force this on the state? And he has nothing. He has no answer. He's just an empty suit. And he doesn't, like I said, he's nice. Everyone loves the guy, but no one ever runs against him. He's just there. He fills space. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And so we have 15 minutes. We still have time, but do you have a website that people can go to? Let's just go ahead and take care of that as well. Website or some place that people can find out about you?
People can go to Facebook and look me up. Currently, I don't have a website. I have been trying to run my campaign up to this point off of my own finances. And as such, I've streamlined everything as much as possible. I understand that I'm going to need more exposure. I'm going to need to get out there, but I wanted to put forth my best effort, my best foot before I went out knocking on doors asking for people to financially support and back me. I want to make sure that I've done everything I possibly can for my campaign before I ask you to contribute to my campaign.
Daniel, did you have any other questions? I mean, I've been really
No,
taking up most of the airtime, so I don't want to take. Yep.
Don't worry about taking up airtime here, brother.
All right.
If I for a moment,
Go ahead.
I'd like to put a shout out to some of the guys who helped me in the citizens legislation. There's Aaron Bollinger. He's been a huge mentor to me. He is the founder for Sherman Institute Online Education. He has worked within the government back in the Reagan era, assisting with legislation. He currently teaches people on legislation, and he is a huge supporter on getting the government back to its constitutional shackles, if you will. Also, there's an activist, Dan Gray, who a lot of people know is grassroots. He really voices his opinion very loudly, and he assists people on becoming active in the community. Then there is a gentleman from Texas down here who's currently running against Cruz. His platform is a constitutional tax. He's been taking on the IRS for over a decade now on his own time and dime, and he has been winning like you would not believe. That is Bob McNeil. And I want to say thank you to those guys for helping me write this legislation. All the legislation basically does is it more or less puts a sunset rule on it. It's called the tax shelf life. And it states that every 2 years, every single state tax has to come up for a vote. And if they do not vote on it, it's automatically considered null and void and is taken off the books immediately. If they do vote for it, obviously, now constituents can look at that and see every 2 years who is pushing to keep what state taxes on the books. It doesn't necessarily change anything. It holds the legislate. It holds their feet to the fire. It holds your elected officials' feet to the fire. It makes them responsible to the constituents for that.
Yeah. So it's a tax set bill.
I actually requested that Neil Goodman go ahead and try to get this to the floor. He refused. He didn't even want to look at it.
Well, that would require work. And again, I know exactly what the empty suits are like. I mean, because I have one. I honestly, outside of changing names on stuff and appropriating money for bridges now and again, I don't know. I can't name one thing that my representative has ever done in all the years he's been there. And he's been there for a long time. He's just there. I mean, I'm sure he was there and he passed. I'm sure he voted for the taxes on the gasoline. That's so outrageous. Now, you were talking about a guy running against Ted Cruz. A good friend of ours is Dwayne Stovall, and he's running against John Cornyn. And he has an organization called Get Off My State. And if you ever are interested in some real good federalism, look up Dwayne Stovall and look up Get Off My State, and you will really enjoy what you're going to see with when you see Dwayne Stovall stuff. Suzanne, did you have any questions for this gentleman? I know he's not in your state, but I know that you have questions for candidates all the time that are usually pretty much on point. So
sure. You know, it's not often I get to speak for somebody running for state office. So the question I like to ask somebody running for state office is, what are your views on states refusing to honor or states nullifying federal laws that are unconstitutional, meaning laws that really fall within the purview of states pursuant to the 10th Amendment, and laws that are not pursuant to Article 1, Section 8. Would you participate in enforcing these laws, working with the government, or would you work with your state to try to ignore or nullify these laws?
Susan, thank you so much for asking that. I actually briefly touched on this before you came aboard. I not only will not support any unconstitutional law, that is any unconstitutional law, but I will be the leading force to the nullification of such. And I will utilize my staff to get the word out to every citizen within our state to do the same, to support, to get out the word that if it is unconstitutional, it is not law. I don't care if it's taxes.
John, can I interrupt you? Have you read the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions?
Me?
Because you're just quoting Jefferson. I had to assume you've read them.
It's been a while since I've read them, but yeah, I mean, it was probably about a decade ago.
Well, that's better than most people because most of them have never even heard of them. So I applaud you that you know your Jefferson and would nullify it. And thank you. I'm sorry to have interrupted you. It was just very funny to actually hear somebody quoting Jefferson, because that's what he said in the Kentucky resolution, or Resolve 1.
Yeah, no, and it's sad that we have to look back that far to find someone who is so adamant to the justification of putting the government employees into the right position of servitude rather than leadership. And that's exactly what the Constitution does. It shackles all your elected officials to the appropriate response of servitude. They're not supposed to be leaders. They're not supposed to be people who are marching down the road for a cause if it is not something that is limited within the powers or justified within the powers of the Constitution. Anyone who tries to expand upon that is merely trying to make we the people its servants. And that is not at all the way our government is structured. Our founders structured that we the people are essentially the powerhouse. It's our governors and our sheriffs that share at the top level of power with we the people. It's not your government. Every time your government passes a piece of legislation, you have to stop and think on it. What are they doing? What Rush Limbaugh used to discuss about American exceptionalism. People think it's because we believe we're so exceptional. Well, yeah, I do. I fought in the U.S. Army. We are freaking exceptional. But outside of that, it is because we are the exception to the rule. We are the only government ever in the history of man that we have the right to do it until our government says we don't. Every other government ever, we the people have always had to request the right to do something before we were allowed to. So we are the exception to the rule, and thus we are exceptional, and we can't be again.
All right. Well, we got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything else you would like the public to know about you there, John, before we have to end the show?
Oh, my goodness. Yes. I am probably one of the most pro-life candidates you will ever have. I will never apologize for that. I have a beautiful, wonderful wife, 6 exceptionally extraordinary children. And I will never apologize for standing for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And there's a reason why the founders put life first, because without life, nothing else matters. Liberty. When it comes to liberty, it is our right to make mistakes, to learn from those mistakes, to fall down and get up, to constantly fight to be the freest that we can, not by requesting from the government, but by holding our government accountable. And the pursuit of happiness comes just from that, by being a liberated people.
John, when you say you're pro-life, are you willing to work with the contingency who demands that a woman has a right to what she calls reasonable health care? Are you willing to really go out on a limb and say, you know what, I want to save all the babies, not just the ones that are politically expedient? Are you familiar with Dan Fisher's campaign for governor in Oklahoma, where he's not just saying he's pro-life, he is for abolishing human abortion?
Oh, I would absolutely stand for abolishing abortion completely. When it comes down to it, I believe that if we could put through legislation to assist with fetal adoption, allowing that person to be covered by the adoptive parent's health coverage, and we can even go beyond that. There are things that we can do to save each and every beautiful life out there. Every person should know that they are wanted. I believe in the Bible it says that God knew you before you were born. You were knitted in the womb by your Lord and Savior. And I will stand on that ground for each and every life.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel?
Oh, sorry. There's another guy you should look up. If you get a chance, go on Facebook and look him up. That's Dan Fisher for governor. He's running in Oklahoma. He is an abolitionist. Another good friend of ours is working on his campaign, Mark Kreslin's. You are in good company with a bunch of good people there. Look up some of these guys, Dwayne Stovall and Dan Fisher. They might have some good resources for you because they are running in very competitive races in very difficult national. We hate the N word here. Races. So anyway,
Real quick, if I may.
Go ahead. Yeah, we have just 2 minutes. The music's playing, so go ahead. Finish out there, John.
Also, people need to understand that the NDAA was passed during the Obama administration, holds all of us. Well, it removes essentially our Fourth Amendment right and tells us that we're all terrorists. I will stand against that and nullify that for our state as well.
Outstanding.
That's excellent to know.
Good to know.
All right. Well, thank you, John, and good luck in your race. And contact us again if there's anything we can do to help you out. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, and God bless.
And God bless you too.
Thank you, John.
And this has been another The Renegade and the Rambler show. We want to thank John Zangaro for being on with us today. He's running for the 123rd House District in the state of Pennsylvania. If you're in that district, you should look him up. If not, go ahead and look him up anyway. He's on Facebook. Just type in his name there. You'll find it in the comments below. If you like the broadcast, comment, post, please share it. We don't have an advertising budget, so you are our advertising managers. If you like it, share it. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Comment below if you like the video. If you have any questions for John, you comment, you let us know. We'll pass it along. And we'll have him back on as the primary gets closer in Pennsylvania. I believe it's in May. So look us up on Facebook. We're at Cerberus Radio Network. And you can find us there. You can message us there and anything else that you need. We look forward to hearing from you.
Jeff and I will be live tomorrow morning, by the way.
What was that, Suzanne?
Jeff and I will be live back-to-back tomorrow morning with Paradigm Shift and the Wasatch Report.
Yes, starting at 9 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Correct. So the Paradigm Shift and the Wasatch Report will be live starting at 9 a.m. The Paradigm Shift with Jeff Johnson comes on first, and then the Wasatch Report with Suzanne Sherman. We look forward to seeing you then. We wish you all a safe night, and there'll be no show next week because I have plans. So unless Jeff's going to do something, but watch for update on that. Until then, have a nice night.